Welcome to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Now, here's Ed Wilson with God's 5 Minutes.
Hello, friends. 1 Kings 11 details the sad story of how Solomon, he who once was so gifted with wisdom and glory, came to his ignominious end. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, Forasmuch as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. So there, on Olivet's southern ridge, right as opposite the temple, stood the 3 altars, and there the king worshipped. Such a fall teaches the destructive effect of yielding to sensual indulgence. Solomon's unbridled and monstrous womanizing sapped his manhood and his principle, darkened his clear spirit, blinded his keen eye, and turned a youth of noble aspiration and a manhood of great accomplishment into an old age without dignity, reverence, or calm. All his wisdom was worth little if it could not keep him master of himself. God means that reason should govern impulses and desires, and that conscience should govern all and be governed by his will. The vessel is sure to be wrecked when the officers are sent below and the mutineers get hold of the helm. His fall also warns that until the very end of life, a fall is possible. This ship went down when the voyage was nearly over. In sight of port it struck, and that not for want of beacons. What pathetic warning lies in that phrase, when Solomon was old. After so many years of high aim, so many temptations overcome, with such habits of wisdom and kingly nobility, after such prayers and visions he fell, and if he can fall, who can be sure of standing? When a man has had in reputation for wisdom and honor shames the record of his life by a great splash of mud on the final page, near its end, he seldom returns. May we not venture to see a warning here against marriages in which there is not unity in the deepest things and a common faith? When you run in double harness, it's a good idea to take a good look at the other horse. If a young Christian man or woman enters on such a union with one who is not a Christian, it's a great deal more likely that in the end there will be 2 unbelievers than that there will be 2 Christians. Solomon stands on this final page of his history, a sad, enigmatic figure, a warning to all young people to take heed that the attrition of the world does not rub off the bloom of early religion or make them cynically ashamed of the unselfishness of their early desires. One of the world's saddest sights is an old man whose youthful enthusiasm for goodness and belief in the beautiful excellence of wisdom have withered, leaving him a hard, worldly man or a gross sensualist. Better the early days when he was obscure and poor and believed in wisdom and in the God of wisdom than the late ones when worldly success has spoiled him. Verses 9 to 13 give the divine retribution announced, showing the immediate connection of sin and punishment. However long the chastising may be in bursting, the divine resolve to send it is instantaneously consequent on the crime. How gravely, as with an indictment drawn in heaven, the shame of Solomon's crime are set out, in that he had sinned against the Lord, who had appeared before him twice and had commanded him concerning the very sin that he had done. God's sentence seems to have been received in sullen silence, and to have wrought no softening nor change. Like all God's threatenings, it was spoken that it might not be inflicted. But he is too far gone to be stopped, though he has God's own word for it that he is ruining his kingdom by his sin. We have as clear declarations of worse results from ours, but they don't stop some of us. How strange it is that people will put out their hands to grasp their sins, even though they have to stretch across the smoke of hell itself. Let's learn from that sad old failure. Oh, and have you talked to God today?
You have been listening to God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson. Reach him by email at GodsFiveMinutes@gmail.com. Tune in next time to hear more encouraging thoughts from God's Word on God's 5 Minutes with Pastor Ed Wilson.
Are you a Christian who likes to read? If not, there's a whole world of Christian publishing out there that you're missing out on. I invite you to check out the Author's Corner podcast, where I talk to the latest Christian authors each week about their new book releases and what's coming next. So if you're ready to jumpstart your spiritual growth with the newest books and the authors who write them, check out the Author's Corner podcast with me, Roberta Foster.